This is the Sick'em Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. The Sick'em Podcast is a production of Baylor Athletics. Now, here are your hosts, Katie Smith and the voice of the Bears, John Morris.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Sick'em Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network, a production of Baylor Athletics. John Morris, Katie Smith, and Katie, how about a Hall of Famer as our guest this week?
I mean, right here in your office, J-Mo,
Yes.
Tweety Carter, a name that all Baylor fans know and love. We are so honored to have you. Thanks so much for taking the time on your off day, nonetheless.
Yes.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was the easy one for me. Anytime J-Mo need me, I'm here. So
Oh, you're very
I
kind.
appreciate y'all having me.
This is
awesome.
fun. And great timing. I mentioned Hall of Famer. The Baylor Athletics Hall of Fame and Wall of Honor induction banquet is this Friday as we record this, November 18th. Congratulations to you. You're headed into the Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. It's a huge blessing. So everybody that hear this, please come out and support.
Which is great. Now, if you come expecting to see Tweety there, let's let everybody know. Unfortunately, you're not going to be there. You'll be working. You got a game on Friday in Las Vegas.
Yes, and we're actually looking forward to going compete in Las Vegas. But you're right, man. This will be a sad one to miss. But, you know, we got to go win games for y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you won't be able to be there, but who will be accepting the award on your behalf?
Great question. My high school coach, Timmy Bird, and his wife will be there. I have a couple of other friends of the family will be there. But this is a big blessing to get him to accept the award for me just because he's been there throughout my life so much and raised me since I was been 6 years old. So,
Yeah.
Huge shout out to Timmy Bird and his wife for taking care of me.
I don't know. Maybe somewhere along the way I've met him, but I've heard his name so much, you know, from you that I feel like I know him already. I'm sure I've met him somewhere along the way.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you have. He
Yeah.
came to a couple of games, you know, but he also coached Jared Butler and Rico Gathers.
Wow.
Right.
So, you know, he's a big part of why a lot of Louisiana guys make sure they make it down here.
Yeah, quite a track record he has.
We owe
with some
him.
of those. Yeah, thank you, sir,
Yes,
Coach
yes,
Bird.
yes.
That'll be
He's
cool to
amazing.
have him here. And I say you have a game. That's because I think most people know, but make sure they know you are back at Baylor full-time. You are on staff with Coach Drew, your Baylor men's basketball director of player development. Tell us what that means.
Yes. Well, I have to make sure that the guys doing what they need to do in school, make sure they have everything they need for their apartments, and anything Coach Drew and the staff need me to do, I'm willing to do. So that's kind of my job title on that, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, so that obviously being a newer role wasn't a role when you were at Baylor. What kind of, who did you look for that type of relationship when you were a student athlete?
Really the staff
Yeah.
in general, you know, because as basketball players, you go through so many ups and downs. You go through a lot of things of getting opinionated and things like that, game to game, practice to practice. So, you know, when you have that, you tend to look for the coaches to be there for you to pick you up as a player, and also your teammates. I think out of my 4 years here from 06 to 10, you know, you had different guys that would step up and support you in those roles. So I just want to make sure I'm always supporting the fellas and letting them know I'm here for them through the good, the bad, ups and downs. You know, I think that's very important to them.
That's really good. So who are some of those guys that really helped lift you up during that time?
Terrence Thomas, for sure. When I first came here, he automatically jumped into competing. Aaron Bruce, Curtis Geralds, Henry Dugat, Kevin Rogers, Mamadou. A lot of those guys, Pat Fields, you know, a lot of those guys throughout my career. And then, of course, my senior year, you got Josh Lomas, you got Epe Udo, Quincy Acey, Lace Dunn. Anthony Jones, Fred Ellis. I could name a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I could name a lot of them because we built so many great relationships, and my brother, A.J. Walton, as well. So, you know, when you have that, you know, it's always a good feeling to have someone to depend on.
Yeah. So you talk a lot about these relationships from your time at Baylor. Obviously, you had this relationship with Coach Drew that brought you back to this job. Tell us a little bit about how this came about, how you came back to Waco. A
lot of people don't know. Every time I say this, they always say, wow. But me and my family have been here for about 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Just like you expected.
Wow. Right. But when I graduated, after my first year overseas, I moved back home, and that was the only time I was away from Baylor. At that time, and I felt the worst. I was like, I need to get back to Waco.
Yeah.
I need that family vibe again. Not saying you don't have it back home, but
Sure.
it's a different vibe when you get the chance to compete here, play here for so long, graduate from here, and still get that love years later. So, just to have that feeling been the best thing for me and my family.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about your family.
Yes, I have a beautiful wife, Brittany Ann Carter. I call her Brittany Ann, by the way.
Oh.
And I have 4 kids. My oldest is Kyla. I have a son, Michael. My middle daughter is Alani. And my youngest is Ileana.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 girls and 1 boy. They're amazing. My oldest is kind of into basketball like me. I don't force him to play it.
I was going to say, does he have much of a choice?
I was excited for that. My oldest, she is amazing. And, I'm just trying to continue to help them grow, especially knowing what this real world is about. So
yeah, that's great. You're great. You're a great family man. You're
Yes,
great,
sir.
with your kids. I know I've seen you with your kids and with your wife, and it's really cool. So great to have you back here full time. So one game here recently, I was talking to you on the sidelines, maybe it was probably last week, and you said, look up in the stands. You had all kinds of family up there in the stands. Now, that's extended family, right?
Yes, that was my cousins,
Okay.
my mom, my
Wow.
dad, on both sides
Yeah.
of the family, and it felt amazing. It was about 50 of them.
Wow,
So
50.
just to have that feeling and get the love and support for them to get the full experience, for them to come down and take a picture on the court meant the world to me, because as a
Yeah.
player, I wasn't able to do it as much, getting them here as much. So to be in a coach's world and get that opportunity to present it to my family meant the world to me.
And
Yeah.
one lady you pointed out in the stands, Katie, this would be great. You said, there's a lady who gave me the name Tweety.
Yes.
What?
Yes, my godmother. Her
Yeah,
name
all
is
right,
Carrter.
tell us how that all started.
My mom said I used to cry a lot, and I used to make her mad, so she used to just give me to my godmother, and my godmother would tell me, she used to put on the show, and I would just follow that bird.
Tweety bird.
And I tell this to everybody. I said, it never was Tweety Bird.
Yeah.
It was Tweety.
Just Tweety.
Yeah,
Just
by
Tweety.
itself.
So she confirmed that with a couple of friends when she was here. But one day I'm gonna have to get her on here so she can tell that
Yes.
story.
Oh, yeah. We
Man, I
want
thought
that
it was
from her.
like, oh, you were so athletic. It was like you were flying through the air.
I
I had
wish
this
I
whole
was
story.
athletic and
I like her version.
I
though.
wish I
That's
was
even
athletic
better.
and
That's
flying.
great. Given name. You know his given name?
Yep, because I approve his expense reports. Damon. Damon?
Demond.
Demond. Oh, they don't
yes.
tell you how to pronounce it on the
Right.
expense report.
Everyone, get that name confused. Either it's Damon, Desmond.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nah,
yes.
it's Demond.
Demond.
But your email? Oh, I probably shouldn't say that. We'll cut that.
Yeah, you could mention it
We're
because
not
I have a funny story about this. When I first got hired on, I'm going through my emails, and I had to call to fix something I had trouble getting into. And they was like, yeah, first and your last name. I was like, Demond Carter. And the guy was like, are you sure you work here?
You're like, gosh, I hope
like,
so.
Yes, I've been working for 2 weeks.
Right.
Now. I'm pretty
Goes
sure.
and checks your paycheck to make sure
I'm
it's
pretty
coming
sure.
through.
He was like, you might have to call someone and see what's going on. And I'm like, I work here, buddy. I promise you I do.
Right.
And he was like, tell me your name again. I'm like, Demond Carter. So he put it in again. He's like, I don't see anything for you. And so I was like, try Tweety Carter. I was like, try Tweety Carter. And he was like, Tweety Carter? You do work here. I was like, yes, I do. I'm pretty sure I do.
Like, that's
So,
what I said.
Right. So everything was in Tweety's in my nickname,
That's
Tweety
funny.
Carter. So
That
was
feels
good.
right, though. That
Yeah.
feels like
Yeah.
how it should be.
That's next level. When your
That
email
is.
address at Baylor is
Yeah.
your nickname, so
Yeah.
to speak, Tweety Carter. That's pretty cool.
That
Can
is
we go
cool.
back to high school a little bit, because
Yes.
there's so many great stories
Yeah.
from your high school career. On varsity from 7th grade on.
7th grade.
I didn't even know that was allowed.
Yes.
No, exactly. In
I guess-
Louisiana.
I guess it's allowed in Louisiana
Louisiana, all
because
bets are
everyone I
off.
mentioned that to says we can't start playing until I think either 8th grade or freshman year.
Really? Yeah.
Wow.
Sure. But it shows how good he was.
It does.
Just under 7,500 points in your high school
goodness.
career, 4 state championships.
Yes.
The story about your game high scoring, 74 points in a game against who? East St. John?
East St. John. They're literally
74 in a game.
Goodness
They're
gracious.
literally 2 minutes down the street.
Yeah.
Yes.
But a much bigger school.
Yes,
Wow.
5A school, actually.
Okay.
We was Class C at the time.
Wow.
And coming up all in biddy ball, I played with a lot of those guys that was on the team at East St. John. So I'm like, to the world, it's like I'm waiting for this game. But to me, I was like, I practice against them every day. Like since 7 years old.
Yeah.
I know them. So I'm not worried about that part.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure my team come out to play because I knew I couldn't do what I did if I didn't have them locked in and focused. And I was telling the story to one of my friends. Before that game, I took the whole team to my dad's house. That was our thing. Before games, we go to my dad's house, we eat, and we sleep, actually. We take a nap. But for some reason, I could not sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I was nervous the night before. I couldn't sleep. And then I was like, I'm going to go take a nap because usually I take a good nap. I could not sleep. So I woke everybody up in the house. We going to the gym early today.
Wow.
So the JV was playing. I'm in the locker room, and I had my headphones. That's when we had headphones. And I just fell asleep.
Huh.
I was knocked out on the floor, knocked out. So when I got up, the JV was finishing up, and, I went out to shoot, and I kid you not, I didn't miss a shot in the corner. I used to shoot all my shots in the corner because my grandmother, Betty DeVere, was in a wheelchair, so she used to be right there. So I just always wanted. She rolled in, and she's going to sit right there. So
that's awesome.
That's great.
And my dad was like, I guess they was counting. I didn't know this at the time, but he was like, him and his friends was counting how many shots I made, and I must have made like 20 in a row.
Wow. Yeah.
But I felt it, but in my mind, I was like, I got to stop shooting because I might run out of makes.
Use them. Use them all up.
Yeah, I might run out of makes. And so when the game started, the high school coach that's on the other side, I seen him the night before, and he was just telling me that he's going to allow his point guard to guard me by himself. And I was like, you do that, I'm probably going to score 40.
40,
and
understatement
I said,
of the
and
year.
I said, if you double me, I'll probably get my average, which was 30-something. Wow. So I was like, no matter what, I'm getting these points. And so he was like, we'll see. And we sure did see.
Wow.
74 points.
What grade were you in at that point?
It was my senior year.
Okay, so not 7th grade. That
Yeah,
makes
it
me
was
feel
my
a little
senior
bit better.
Right.
Yes. But I did average 15 points my 7th grade year.
Wow.
15.
Yes.
7th grade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Playing with grown men. That's incredible.
And that's credit to my oldest brother for always taking me outside with the older guys and play. Both of my oldest brothers, so that's credit to them.
Man,
That's awesome.
That's great. So who from Baylor made first contact with you, or what was that first encounter like with somebody from here?
I was getting a lot of questionnaires, right? I don't remember exactly how it happened. I just know my high school coach was like, hey, I really like Baylor. I didn't know much about Baylor. I used to get these cards with my head and somebody else's body, but it looked good. So it looked good on that one. So I was loving it, right? And me and my high school coach talked a little bit, and he was like, I think this is the place for you.
Wow.
And at the time I didn't understand what he meant. And Coach Drew, I think Coach Drew probably reached out to me first, and then the rest of the coaching staff. And like I said previously, the coaches all called and made sure they showed they love. But I talked to Coach Tang and Coach Drew the most during that process, and they was amazing. And to be here today and knowing that we had a relationship long time ago, and we both gave each other our word and commitment, that meant so much to me because it still stands till this day.
Yeah. Visiting with Tweety Carter, Baylor men's basketball legend, soon to be Hall of Famer, on this week's Sikkim podcast. I've had the privilege of calling games and telling stories about Baylor University athletics for a long time. Storytelling is an art, and there's a network in town doing just that. Rogue Media Network has produced over 80 original podcasts and shows ranging from comedy, true crime, business, and sports. If there's a story to tell, Rogue Media Network is telling it. You can find this podcast and all the other great Rogue Media Network shows on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube, or anywhere you listen to podcasts.
So you talked about you come to Baylor, you play here, and then you go play overseas. Were you able to stay in contact with Coach Drew and the coaching staff during that time?
Oh, yes. That was the easy part, calling back home, checking on the guys. Because I watched pretty much every game when I was overseas, no matter what year it was.
That's awesome.
And me and Coach Drew would actually talk a lot. Sometimes I'd get game film to try to give my input on it and things like that. But they made sure we stayed in contact.
That's awesome.
You know, we won any championship we won, they always saved the net for me. So that was the coolest thing. And when I won my first championship overseas, I sent the net back to Coach Drew.
Oh, that's special.
That was a special moment for him, and to see he still have that net is awesome.
That's cool. Explain to our listeners, you know, when we say the Baylor family, I mean, with Baylor athletics, that's a real thing. But with Baylor men's basketball, that is a real thing. I mean, it's family for life, isn't it?
It is. And it start with the fans. From day one, accepting me through the ups, the downs, you know, because I know my freshman year I got a lot of questions, you know, but they stuck with me. And that's all you could ask for, especially in a competitive sport like this, basketball. And, you know, all I had to do was figure it out on the court. I could take Tweety, need to do this better, need to do that better. I could always take that. But the support I was getting throughout that was the biggest thing for me because I never felt alone. And that's credit to, again, my coaches and my teammates, but the fans played a big role in that as well.
Are there certain fans that were here while you were a student athlete and now you're kind of have a different type of relationship with them on this side of things?
Yes, I would say Chris. He's been there for a long time, man. And, you know, just to see him still with jerseys on, still see him come to the game years later, that means a lot to me. And it shows that the Baylor family is really strong and the love you get from the fans is awesome. So
good.
That's cool.
It's Chris Fuentes who's in the stands. Easy to pick out in the stands.
Yeah. I'm picturing him right now.
Real devoted fan. So during your career here at Baylor, 06 to 10, I think your high score game was that game at Syracuse?
Yes.
31 at Syracuse?
Yes. The funny story on that, our luggage got caught up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it did.
So we had to practice in Syracuse gear, I think, the day before the game. Yes.
I mean, are we talking like Syracuse across your chest?
About everything.
Oh,
I'm talking about
There was
everything.
nothing else. There was no other gear.
Shoes.
Nice.
You know, and to come out and compete and get that 31-point game. I think we lost that game, but you know, it was a great moment for me and my teammates supported. So that was always awesome to have that.
That was fun. So here's an addendum to that story. Cassandra Nunley, Pat Nunley's wife, went with us on that trip to Syracuse. You won't remember this, but she went with us, and it was like the worst trip ever. Lost our luggage. Remember, you had delayed. We got it at DFW. You guys were practicing.
In the airport.
At a back hallway at DFW Airport because they were going to miss their practice time the day before the game. Get there, no luggage, didn't get delivered till the next day. So it's like, you know, like everything that could go wrong went wrong. And Cassandra's on this trip, and she's like smiling, and she's saying, "This is so great." You know, she was happy to be with us.
Yeah, she's like, "This is a great time." You guys are like, "What?"
And somebody in the airport says to her, "Oh, are you the team nurse?" And we said, "No, it's Pat's wife, Cassandra." But from that day on, she has been the nurse.
The team nurse.
So you go up to her and call her the nurse.
I'm gonna do that.
Awesome.
Do it.
I'm gonna do that, J-Mo.
And that's what it goes back to.
Yes.
But that's a good memory, and your 31 that night was a really good memory, even though it wasn't a win that night.
Right.
But how about playing in that dome?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be that way.
Yeah.
It was a little weird. I was like, we playing in a football stadium?
Yeah.
And the way it looked, it didn't feel like it, but then when you look in the back, it's like, oh, this is a football stadium.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I mean, 31 points, I can't complain.
Yeah.
The only thing I was mad about was the loss.
You played in another dome later in your career.
Yes.
Senior year, that regional down in Houston. Golly, do you remember the fan support there?
That was crazy.
It was.
I mean, the 2010 team, all of my guys, man, on that team got so much love for it. Big shout out to Epe Udo because me and him still have a great relationship now. He helped me all on and off the court, on and off as coaching now. So, you know, he's a big part of my life, man. He's awesome, and you know, big shout out to him. But, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy to go compete against St. Mary's and, compete against Duke was amazing. The fans, the yelling. When you look up, you see so many fans, and it was just like it was awesome. Like, what better atmosphere than to play in this? So, for me, as long as we got to compete and keep the fans energetic was important to me.
Yeah. So we got to hear you talk about it some, but kind of how you felt about the national championship, all that. Give us a little bit more of you kind of helping build this program and then that being the outcome. Like, what are your feelings as you're watching that game?
Well, helping build the program and and seeing that game, the national championship game, helped build it, and I played in that game, by the way.
Yeah.
I was the sixth man. I always say that.
I believe it.
That one. I'm not letting that one ride. I actually played with Davion and Jared Butler and Maceo and all the rest of the guys.
That's awesome.
But it was a great experience to be a part of this special program, and I've been saying that since day one, even through interviews, and it's just a great feeling to help change a program, to be a part of change.
Yeah.
And to see those guys hold up that trophy. And me knowing them, because I would come back every summer and compete against them, and knowing the hard work that they put in, the dedication they had to putting the extra work in, meant a lot to me because it's not easy. And being a player, I knew it wasn't easy because we tried to accomplish the same thing and we fell short.
Yeah.
So just to see them go through it and finish it off for BU Nation meant the world to me because now we are literally a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And that's a great feeling because we was at the bottom. And I just always think about those moments because we all could have made different decisions to not come here, to go somewhere else. But all of us, I'm glad all of us did make that decision because a lot of us get to enjoy our name, enjoy the hard work that we put in and the love that we get because I think that's important, especially as athletes because not everybody make it to the NBA. And when they have these type fans and love and support to come back to, trust me, it's an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah. You were a big part of that. I mean,
Yeah.
you helped lay the foundation, for the program and won a national championship in 2021. Tell everybody what Coach Drew did to include you guys in the parade and everything else around that.
Yes. He invited everybody back. I missed the parade.
Oh.
So, that was tough because I was overseas still playing, and that was one of my biggest things. I was like, I'm missing so much, man, playing overseas. But Coach Drew do an amazing job of keeping everybody up to date with what's going on at Baylor, texting all the past players. That takes time out of his day. So everybody appreciate that. I know all the players appreciate him thinking about them. Because he don't have to. There's 12 years removed. A lot of the other guys longer removed, and just for them just to still get that love for him as if they're still playing for him, it says a lot about him.
Yeah, we had David Kay on the podcast last week, and it's just cool to kind of hear these themes repeated of just that Baylor men's basketball. I think people see the story, they see the things, but to get to talk to people that are actually a part of it, and it's, these are the relationships we have. This is the Baylor family, and this is kind of how Baylor men's basketball does that. So you're a great example of that, Tweety.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You played 12 years overseas, professional basketball. You've told us before that you love playing, but that was tough, wasn't it, to be away like that?
It was tough. That was probably the hardest moments because I was away from my kids. I was away from my wife at times. And, when you do it for 12 years and you see your kids grow right in front of your eyes, it's sometimes I would think at times it would be like, man, it's a hurt feeling. But I knew I had to keep doing what I had to do to make sure that they was taken care of. So I kind of balanced it out on this is what I have to do for them, But it was so hard overseas, the language barrier, and just being away for 8-9 months, going through what you go through overseas, not getting your money on time, not getting paid on time, practicing twice a day, a lot, running outside. I can go on and on, but I really do appreciate the experience because it shaped me in who I am today.
Yeah. While you were over there playing, was it kind of always in the back of your mind, I'm going to do this for X amount of time, and then I would love to come back and coach, or what was kind of the career path plan?
That's something my wife give me a hard time about all the time. She says, you finally retired because you've been trying to retire 3-4 years ago. And I was like, you're right, but I always was be like, this is my last one. This is my last one. I'm not going back. I'm not going back.
Yeah.
But, when you're in a moment to make the decision, it wasn't an easy decision to make just because I've been doing it since 6 years old.
Yeah, and you're pretty good at it.
Yeah, and to walk away from something, that I love and I would literally die for it was just like I couldn't do it. So those 3-4 years gave me opportunity to see more than just me as a basketball player. Because I knew it was going to come to an end. No matter what I want to think, no matter how I say it, I knew it was going to come to an end. So you always want to enjoy it until that moment. But these last couple of years was like the toughest because sometimes I'm by myself. I'm crying at night. I could say that. I'm going to share y'all the real, right?
Thank you.
I'm going to give y'all the real. Like it brought a lot of tears to my eyes just thinking about, I don't want to say quitting, but just thinking about retiring, like, it brought a lot of tears to my eyes. And I think it was not every night, but off and on for 3 years, I've been questioning about hanging the jersey up. Yeah. And I finally made that decision, and I thank God for it because it was the right timing, and everything. And I really do believe in the right timing because 3 years ago, this job may not be there.
Yeah.
True. That's right.
And so for me to play up until everything presented itself was a blessing.
Yeah. Well, think about the things that were ordered. Those steps were ordered right there with Coach Tang, who'd been here since day one with Coach Drew, but getting a job, taking a job at Kansas State. Yes. Jay New moves up, opens up a position there. Things move around. So the timing of it, was absolutely perfect.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Coach Tang. Shout out to Coach New because without Coach Tang taking his blessings, I wouldn't have mine.
Yeah.
And Coach New get an opportunity to move up and show everyone what he can do. But he's been a big help with getting me. He's been in this position for 12, 13 years, and he's given me the blueprint on how to make sure I'm doing my part. And that's my biggest thing is making sure I'm not letting down the program, not letting down Coach Drew or the players.
All right, let's close with this. Let's close with where we started. You're going into the Baylor Athletics Hall of Fame. You're one of the greats of the greats here at Baylor. You're going to have a spot in that Letterman's Lounge as a Hall of Fame member for the rest of your life.
Yes, sir.
What does that mean to you?
It means the world to me. It's still like I'm like, man, this is happening. And it's creeping up on me day to day. And just to get this feeling and to share it with some of the fans and the coaching staff, my teammates, the players, it's an unbelievable feeling. I can't stress it enough. I wish I could make it there on that day, but I just want to thank the whole Baylor family on making this decision to vote me in and give me this opportunity because it means a lot to me. And back to my family, that's the reason why they came up last weekend because we wanted to celebrate it early. Not all of them could make it on the 18th, knowing I wasn't going to be there. So it was a blessing to have him there and have them here to share that moment with me.
That's so cool. That is so great. Well, you're so deserving, and it's great. You elevate the stature of our Hall of Fame.
You really do.
Being a member,
you really
do. And Katie's right behind you, too.
Far behind you.
Well, thanks for your time. I know this isn't easy. You're in season. As we said, you had a game as we record this. You had a game last night. You're leaving for Las Vegas tomorrow. Yeah. So thanks for making time, and we really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, Jay. This is what this is about. I'll do anything for the Baylor family. Just let me know. Call my number, and I'm there.
Okay, we'll take you up on
there
it.
There you go. It is so great to have you back at Baylor.
Yes, sir. Thank God for it.
Have you been looking for a new podcast to listen to? Are you interested in true crime, funny one-star reviews, or inspiring stories? What about the history of Waco or the famous people who have lived and worked here? All these and more are produced by Rogue Media Network. There are over 80 different shows, including this one, with more coming all the time. If there's a story to tell, Rogue Media Network is telling it. Watch on YouTube or listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Wrap things up on this week's Sikkim podcast with Tweety Carter. Katie, this was a lot of fun. And again, the Hall of Fame banquet comes up on Friday. That'll be a lot of fun. Great class. And Tweety fits right in with this great group this week.
He really does. We're so excited about it. Sad you won't be able to be there in person, but know that we'll be rooting you on in Las Vegas this weekend.
Yes, I am sad about it, but I know we got business to keep taking care of so we can keep winning games for the Baylor family.
Keep that going. Some big games this weekend. Thanks to Tweety Carter, our guest this week. For Katie Smith, I'm John Morris. Thanks for being with us for this week's Sikkim podcast.
Thanks, Tweety.
Yeah, that was great. Great. So serious. Hello.
You've been listening to the Sikkim Podcast, powered by Rogue Media Network. The Sikkim Podcast is a production of Baylor Athletics.